Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. Welcome back to the channel. We're back, baby. Back online, back with an internet connection, and back talking about the Bluebirds. That's what I like. That's what I'm here for, and I am all about it this evening. And I am joined by none other than the man himself, Mr. Rhys David Evans. How are you, mate?
Not bad. Buzzing for the football to start back, mind. The final run in now till the season ends and the World Cup starts. So I just can't wait for it to start. No, well, nothing for us now this week, is it? Monday now.
Yeah. So, just a quick question on Wales, mate. It does feel a bit downhearted and disheartening, doesn't it? Because obviously Italy were quite beatable compared to historically how they've, over the years have been when we were younger and stuff. And it does feel like a missed opportunity in terms of getting to the World Cup in the summer. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I agree. I think you look at the Bosnia game, you think, right, you've got to get past Bosnia. That's the thing is, there's no standout stars. I get you look at Wales and go, there's no standout stars, but you look at the players we've got. They've got a 40-year-old, what's his name? From Dzeko, 40-year-old Dzeko. And we've got the players we got. Brendan Johnson just won the UEFA Conference last year with Spurs. Harry Wilson, you got Ethan Ampadu, Dylan Lawler, all these players you got. And you see a team that makes the right subs, right time. And you see the subs we made, bring the players we brought on a killer game. And you just think, and then afterwards you hear things like, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the subs when we put the game. You're thinking, not only am I disheartened, then I'm thinking, hang on, and if the manager's not seeing the problem, but everyone else has seen the problem, it feels like we've all been like gaslit into believing we're all wrong.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's not even just like a Cardiff thing or a certain fan, like a Wrexham thing or a Swansea thing. Like Welsh fans were pretty unanimous in when he brought Liam Cullen on, why aren't you bringing on Josh Sheenan if you want control, or Joel Colwell if you want energy? And that's even Swansea fans saying that, saying Liam Cullen's nowhere near the Swansea team. Never mind, should he be anywhere near the Wales team? And then it's the same, with Mark Harris. He's out of contract in the summer with Oxford, and I'd be quite disappointed if Cardiff, for instance, went back to sign Mark. And it's nothing against him. I don't think it's what we need, but also he's a striker which doesn't score goals, and you're playing in a one-off game. It makes no sense to me. And I think when he's made such a big thing about profile of player, particularly when he's tried to make excuses for why Ruben's not in the squad, he's talked about profiles. And I'm like, all right, well, say he wanted Cullen to come in. He wanted someone with that profile, someone with energy to go in the midfield. That's fine. I get it. It's not what I would have done. I would have gone more for control at 1-0 up. But okay. Joel Colwell sat there on the bench, does everything which Cullen can do, but actually is a midfielder. So it makes no mistake. And I said to you just off air, I feel like it was, I'm not going to go on too much about it. And I want to be clear about something as well. I don't blame Liam Cullen and I don't blame Mark Harris. They're proud to play for Wales. They are asked to do a job and they would play left back if they were asked to. What I blame is that the manager put his ego and his sort of a bit of stubbornness ahead of what would the team or what was best for the team. And I get that football's subjective and it's all opinions, but 20, 30,000 Welsh fans and the media can't be wrong to one guy. So it was frustrating because I feel like if he makes the right subs, we win that game pretty comfortably, because I thought we were the better team for the majority of the game. We just gifted it to them in that sort of last 20 minutes of normal time. And even in extra time, I thought speaking in generalities, I thought it was quite a cowardly performance in terms of, it's extra time, one-off game, get to the World Cup, be brave, play with risk and go and, you're home, you got the crowd behind you. It wasn't going to take much for the crowd to get up for it. Go and do something. And that's why, what I said to you just now, that's why Ruben Colwell should have been on the bench. Because if 10 minutes into extra time, you brought Ruben on, Ruben would have, and I get it, he's not everyone's cup of tea, but you put him in that scenario, in that game, and he has a field day because he would have had so much space. It would have lifted the crowd. We've seen him Brian Barry Murphy do it when Ruben came back from injury. When the crowd started to go a bit quiet, send him to warm up, put him on with 20 minutes to go, and suddenly the crowd's up again. What you need in extra time, you need that a bit of lift, and something's just out of the box, like. But look, it is what it is. I'm really frustrated by it because I feel like Italy were actually beatable, and you haven't, in my lifetime, you haven't always been able to say that, and it feels like a missed opportunity. But I will stand by what I said the other day. I do think Craig Bellamy is the right person for the job at the moment. However, he's got to learn, and he's got to learn quick, because just lastly, mate, the Northern Ireland game, you watch Lewis Kumas does everything and did everything that Mark Harris does, but also has a bit of skill and a bit of flair and a bit of pace on the ball. And I just think, like, how has he not got a minute? How has Nathan Broadhead not got a minute in a game you've got to win? It just doesn't make any sense. But I'm glad the international break's over. The last 2 international breaks have made me pretty depressed, I've got to be honest. They're quite toxic, and the atmosphere is not what it used to be at Wales games. And I'm looking forward to speaking about Cardiff, because no one overreacts in the Cardiff fan base. And it's like, it's all nice and calm, level-headed, and you can have like a normal conversation, and it's fine.
But you say that, right, about certain players didn't get minutes, right? And I'm thinking how he's managed Dylan Lawler. Like, we spoke off air.
Don't start me on this now.
Dylan Lawler gets, he's not, he gets injuries in his legs and stuff. He feels it, he's normally gets 60 to 70 minutes, and he's taken off and he's rested up. But he plays under 20 minutes. You're thinking, okay, it's a big game. Probably one of the best defenders we've got in a ball carrying centre halves. Keeping him on. He'll create something. He'll get something to go in. I get it. But then to play him, 3 or 4 days later, bring him on as a sub. Why are you risking him? He goes off injured then, and it's what a club now, they can sort it out. Do you know what I mean? You got players there who probably could have done with minutes for their country to try and implement them into Bellamy's brand of football. Give them minutes. I don't understand why he's done. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Like, Dylan played 120 minutes against Bosnia, and he was cramped. Him and Joe Roden were cramping up. And if I was Brian Barry Murphy and Joe Roden's manager, I'd be fucking fuming, because there's no need to play him against Northern Ireland. It was a game no one wanted, no one cared about. Like, have a look at some of the youngsters. Call up a couple of 21s centre backs. Like, there's no need. And Cabango, all right, I accept that he played a part in the goal we conceded, and he wasn't great. And I do think the drop off from a championship captain to a League One teenager, or just turned 20, was staggering. Like, the difference in quality. Now, I think that says a lot about how good Dylan Lawler is, but also, like, he should have been nowhere near the pitch, mate. I'm sorry. I get it. Like, Dylan's a very passionate, proud Welshman. He speaks Welsh like he's a prop. He is as proud to play for Wales as he is, playing for Cardiff. Like, he'd be in the stands if he wasn't playing. But sometimes you've got to protect players from themselves. And if I was BBM, I'd be pretty fuming, if I'm honest. But I have heard that it was he's all right. It's just a knock, like just a precaution. Someone asked about Sala. I can't see the comment now. He's in training. So I don't think he'll be fit to start, is my opinion. But he is with the group, like, so he's on grass. So I think he could be in the squad on Monday. Whether he'll play is another thing. But I just think having him on the bench, and even if you give him 5 minutes, will give everyone such a lift within the group, the fans, everything. Just be massive. Right-footed left-back says, Chelsea fan here, how's Amari Kennyman for you? Reece, you go first, mate, and then I'll give my opinion.
Outstanding for us. His control of the ball. You put 3 men around him, he gets away with the ball. I think he's been fantastic. He's played right wing, number 10, which has been his best position for us, in my opinion, number 10. He's controlled games and run games from that position. He's also played the false 9. And when he's had Joe Wall with him in the false 9, the link-up play between him was so good. You've got every player there. Will Chelsea put him into the first team? I don't know. I think they'll probably say we got other players who are ahead of him. I would love him again on loan next year, if I'm honest. If you don't want him, we'll gladly take him. I think he's been fantastic for us. The brand of football we play in, though, brings the best out of him, I think. It's a bit of freedom and a bit of creativity that allows someone like that time on the ball. And again, there's no pressure either on him, if that makes sense. Like, if he loses the ball, it's not, no, get the ball back. It's let the lads behind him win the ball back, give it to him, and let him do what he has to do. Like, I think it's been brilliant. I'm glad he took him back.
I agree with that, mate. I'm hoping he comes and has a year in the Championship as well. I will say another thing, just on the Chelsea thing. I think he's streets ahead of Garnacho, like in terms of his football IQ, his attitude, his ability on the ball, because I think Garnacho, for instance, is very one-dimensional. It's basically like knock it in front of him and run. Like, you know, I'm not doubting he's got ability. We've seen him score some unbelievable goals, but I think Kellyman, from a technical ability point of view, is like streets ahead of him. But also, what I would say about Kellyman is, I thought at the start of the season when he was playing off the right wing, I wasn't that impressed. I was like, really? But then as soon as we moved him into the 10, I genuinely thought he was a bit of a revelation, like how good he was in the centre and the way, like the amount of free kicks he wins with his close control. Like the defenders are coming in for the ball, and I get it's League One defenders, but they're coming in to get a ball and the ball's gone, like the ball's moved somewhere else, and his ability to switch it out wide. And I really think he's been a bit of a revelation moving into the 10. I think he's been really good, but I do think a season in the Championship would do him some good, much like Dylan Lawler. I think they could do with 1 year in the Championship, because just to go up a level in terms of the defenders they come up against or the attackers that they come up against, I think that would be really beneficial for him. I got to say, in Dylan's case, I think whatever he does and wherever he goes, he's just going to rise to the occasion. He seems like that sort of player. But yeah, I just want to keep him. So I'm,
I say, the only thing he lacks to me is that killer pace.
Who's that now? Kellyman.
Kellyman. So yeah, when you say about Garnacho knocks the ball and gets beyond the man, if Kellyman had that, he would be deadly on the wing.
Yeah, I think he
lacks that killer pace. That's all.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you, but I think he's deceptively with his running. Like when he's in full flow, those long legs start going. He is a bit quicker than he looks. He's got a weird running style. It's quite languid, but like you watch him when he's pressing, and he quite often like blocks the keeper's clearance or like gets a foot on it because he's up on them as quicker than they thought. And the one thing I would say as well from the start of the season, say the first third of the season, is Brian Barry Murphy has definitely improved his off the ball work rate, ability, knowing when to press, when to hold your position, when to shuffle across and to counter press. I think it's been a real good learning curve for him. And Brian Barry Murphy is almost the perfect manager for these young players to get an opportunity at first team football. But then you can see as the season's going how much he's coached them to be better footballers. And I think that goes for pretty much every player in the Cardiff squad. Certainly every player under 25, I think, is better today than they were on day one of the season. And I think the manager and the coaches deserve a lot of credit for that.
I think we see that with the fitness levels. They've just gone up and up and up. And I mean, look at Doncaster. 97th minute, Joel Bagan's making an overlapping run to get in the box. Keane Ashford's cut it inside, takes a shot, and Bagan's continued his run and on the end of it scored. I mean, a couple of years ago, you wouldn't have seen that. They'd have been exhausted by 70 minutes. That run would have stopped at the edge of the area. They would have just huffed and puffed and slowly gone back. But again, the fitness levels have gone sky high. And if you look at Kellerman, when he came to us, I think he had a massive big injury when he first came, didn't he? So he wasn't much fit for us, he wasn't. And he was slowly bled into the side. A couple of minutes here, 20 minutes there. And I think he started getting 60-minute games then, 60 minutes here, 60 minutes there. And since then, he's just gone another level for us. I think if you get a good pre-season under him in the summer, you've got a player in hands.
100%, I agree with that. People didn't get my sarcasm about the calm and non-overreacting Cardiff City fan base. No, look, so I've had a few messages today from people who watch the channel, but also some other people about my video today, where I basically discussed Dylan Lawler and a bit of a dilemma in the summer. So, like, if you haven't seen it, basically the gist of the video is because Cardiff City are in a real financial crisis, like a proper, we just hemorrhaging money. And obviously the court case didn't go our way, although I think that was pretty much expected. The The problem they have now is, or I think we've got, is in the summer, is I do think a couple of clubs will chuck 5 or 6 million down on Dylan Lawler to test the water. Now, if you had gone to the World Cup and had a great World Cup, which you probably would have, because he just seems that type of player, you might get 10 if you're lucky, because League One players historically do not go for big money. So I think, in the video, I say, like, I think it's imperative that Cardiff are strong and they hold out this summer, because if he has 30 games in the Championship at the level he's played at this year, he'll go for massive money next year. Massive money. Regardless of where we finish, he will go for massive money. So we've got to be strong and we've got to be brave and we've got to not blink. The problem is historically, mate, you look back at when we sell our best players or our assets, we do not sell them well. Nathan Blake, Aaron Ramsey, like the list is endless. Like, yeah, just sell them for absolutely naff all. Now, that's my worry, mate, because we're in such financial bother. I think I worry. I worry that we will accept 5-6 million for him, because ultimately that's a good chunk percentage. I forget what the percentage was now of the money that we kind of owe. However, saying that, you could also, in my opinion, maybe get like 1 million for Callum Robinson. You could get 1 million for David Turnbull. You could get 1 million for Callum Chambers. Just hypothetically, like, just talking generalities. I'm obviously they could go for a little bit more, a little bit less, but just generally, I reckon you can get about 3 million for those players, like in total. I would rather do that and free up some room and wages. You know, 2 of those players are on massive money, and then free up some space in the squad for Brian Barry Murphy that way, rather than selling assets. For me, if I'm Mehmet Dalma, Kenan Cho, Vincent Tan, you've got to look at it the long term. So in the summer, when there was potential buyouts and, you know, potential new owners sniffing about the club, Vincent Tan was advised by his people, do not sell this summer, revisit it once we're back in the Championship, and because you'll get more money or more of your money back, essentially. Now, I think those advisors should be telling him the same thing again. Don't sell any of this young crop now. Hold on to them for 12 months at least, to then get more money next summer. Because the reality is, I think you look at the sellable assets of those young players, most of them are probably going to be worth more in 12 months' time than they are now. Most of them. Injuries, obviously, you can't do much about, but, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I do think Cardiff have got to be brave this summer, and Vincent Tan, who's not getting any younger, has got to be, think of the long term in terms of just 12 months down the line, for me at least. But I'm not sure we will, mate. I'm really not. I'm worried about it.
See, I don't understand the court case, so I might be wrong, but I'm 90% sure when Mehmet Dalman came on the show with you, the question was asked about the money for Sala, and he said at the time the money was ring-fenced and put aside for it.
Yeah, that was the fee. So that was the fee.
Yeah, so that's that. He said that was ring-fenced, right? So it was 15
million. So that's been paid. The transfer fee has been paid.
We then sold part of the potential winnings for about, I think, £9 to £10 million, I believe I remember reading somewhere. So again, I don't know if that's covered all legal costs.
So the transfer fee, which we were ordered to pay by FIFA or CAS or whatever it was, I think it was like 13 million or something in total. I can't remember the exact amount, but we basically had our money aside. That was paid when we were told we had to pay it. We also then sold something to do with, I don't know the ins and outs of this exactly, so I don't really want to get it wrong, but we essentially, I think, sold part of the potential winnings of this court case to an insurance company, and then they take over like the legal side of it, etc. However, the problem being is publicly they've given it all the big and saying they're confident they're going to get this 100 million from the court case. But if you actually look at it realistically, they were never going to win this court case when it's been seen by a French businessman stroke judge. in a French court trying to penalize and essentially bankrupt a French business. Like, it was very, very unlikely. And because, really getting into technicalities, Nantes didn't book the flight. Willie Mackay or whoever it was booked the flights, and they dealt with all that side of it. And that's not like Nantes a fit. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like basically Nantes didn't they didn't book the flights. So with that in place, they were never going to get it. Like, they were never going to win the court case, really. And I think the mistake that Cardiff made is they publicly sort of made out to the fans that they were confident and they were going to win it. But I think realistically, they were never going to win it. And the problem with that is you get the usual media and the usual people and the usual fans will now use that as a stick to antagonize Cardiff City fans, beat the club with. But whereas I do actually think they were right to take it further and go to court and things like that. But I just think they got it wrong, maybe in how they did it, or I don't know. I'm not a legal expert, but ultimately, like, someone should have been held accountable. And I think the fact that Willie Mackay was still negotiating deals 12 months, or even might have even been 6 months after Emiliano Sala's death, was disgusting. When he was already a banned agent. So, but then on the other side, you can't have it both ways. Neil Warnock had many a dealing with Willie Mackay, is the word on the street. So
his kids are signed to the club, aren't they?
Yeah. So it's no one's hands are clean, mate. But it's one of them where it exposes yet again the seedy side of football. The thing which gets lost on me, mate. Sorry, just lastly is, and that's what's really pissing me off, is people using it to score points and say about Cardiff as a club or blah blah blah. And then you've got Cardiff fans who are using it as a thing to stick it to the board and the owners because they don't like them. And everyone's got an agenda. And I think what's getting lost is Emiliano Sala lost his life like a young guy who was he'd finally got his big move. His family have lost their son, whatever, like family member. And I think it's such a tragic situation. And you've got essentially a load of rich people arguing about how they can get some money out of it. And then on the other side of it, you've got other people using it as ways to score points off people for football tribalism. And I don't like any of it, to be quite honest with you, because I think I'd rather just pay tribute to the guy and move on from that side of it.
Yeah, what I was going to say was, when we sold like part of the potential winnings, I was hoping that kind of money would cover like a lot of the rest of the losses, the legal losses and stuff, a big chunk of it. So therefore, we wouldn't be stuck as fans stuck with it. I think we'll have an idea of where the club is at financially now when the season ticket prices drop. Because one thing I'll give credit to for is he's kept them cheap for years. And if we see a sharp increase now, maybe he's not going to sell, maybe there's money problems. I don't think we'll be forced to sell in the summer, but I think there might be a limit on what we can spend. That might mean we not be able to afford to buy Trot. And I think that would be a sucker punch, really. Because, in my opinion, I'm more than happy enough to lose, no offence, to Chamber. I'll happy enough to lose Chambers or Shaw, Callum Robertson, if the wages we saved from them meant we could use the money to buy Trot. Because if we've got a good spine, you can build on that. But if you've got players who are aging, nothing instant, there's no resale value. You're tanking money on them. So,
yeah, there's another side to it as well. Is like the money that we lost in the championship last year, that comes back into play now this year because we're back in the championship so quickly. I think I think we spent about 25 million on this court case, and you think of what Brian Barry Murphy could have done with that sort of money. That's quite frustrating. Here's one then for you. Out of the current squad, if I said to you, right, there's 5 players that you can pick, any 5 players out of the team, and we will not sell them under any circumstances this summer, which 5 players would you pick?
Salek, Joel, Dylan Lawler, Ruben, trying to think where the most value is in the side, player-wise. Because, again, we know, like I said, we know Sheffield United been sniffing around Keane Ashford. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's been public now for a while. And they seem to every transfer window, they seem to up their offer. I mean, if you're desperate for a couple of million, you could probably say to Sheffield United, you know what? Cough for the big bucks, you could have him.
Well, they bid $3.5 million for him previously, I think.
You're the Championship Club next year. You could say, we want up to 10.
It's funny, right? Because to me, like Keane, I think he's so vastly underrated by Cardiff fans. I agree. I think he's had, if you look at his season this year, it's been very, very good. Like, his football IQ is off the charts. To me, like, the spine of our team is really good, and like it's really young. Like, you look at it, apart from like Trott's a bit older, but if you go Fish, Lawler, Alex, Joel, Ruben, and Salic, they're all under 25. Yeah. Which is mad. Like, and I think if you can hold on to them plus Keane, I think you're in good shape. But I'd also add Ronan Kapacchio. I know he's like, people think he's fallen off a bit. I don't think he fell off this year. What I think happened is Perry NG returned to the motivated best version of himself.
I think if you look as well, right, we got like Satana now, who's probably on his best season at Cardiff. He's missed half with injury, but his stats are there for him. But if you've got him and Keane, you could probably say, look, if we're desperate for money, you could afford to lose one. I wouldn't want to lose any of them, but you could afford to lose one. I just don't think we'll be in a situation where we have to sell in the summer. I really don't. I got to show respect to talent for this, but he's not. Well, the chips are down. He's not gone. We'll sell everyone. Do you mean we had a bit of a clear out of the deadwood last summer, which was needed. Let's be honest. A lot of players had to go, and I think he knows that if he keeps hold of certain players, he could probably get a lot more for the club because there's a lot more value in the assets he's got. You could, for example, sell Dylan Lawler, say 10 million now tomorrow, or you could say to a potential owner, there's a player there with 30 million in 2 years' time.
100%, mate. 100%.
I don't think you'll cut. Again, it might just be a case of there was £5 million to spend, now we've got £2 million to spend. But if you wanted more, you've got to cut the wages of these players. I don't think it'll be a case of we got to sell big in the summer.
I hope not, mate. But I think we will have to sell some players to balance the books. I think actually it's more wages that we'll have to cut. And I think, unfortunately, the two Callums are the highest earners. So, they're probably going to be at the higher end of the list when you look at wages to cut. But moving on to the football side of things, just before we sort of move on, because I want to ask you something about the football side of things. But Lewis makes a great point, right? Because everyone wants to have a dig at the board and the owner and that, and I get it, like I get it. But Lewis makes a great point here. He says if you look at it a different way, in the summer they said very early on no one was for sale, and they absolutely stuck to it. And if you remember when certain people within social media and forums and that were saying this player's for sale, this player's going, blah, blah, blah. I was pretty steadfast from pretty early on in the summer, like saying nobody is for sale. They've said, and I remember saying it like time and time again, I checked again this morning, nobody is for sale. They will not sell anyone. And it was like constant. I remember doing a video about Alex Robertson when he was just before the window closed with people like saying, oh, he's going to Portsmouth. He's going, like, he was never, ever, ever going this summer. And, I suppose in one way you've got to give them a bit of credit for that. They stuck to their word for a change and said, no. But, I think again, it'll be the same this year. They'll say there's no one for sale. I do think BBM will have a list to the ownership and go, look, if someone comes in for this player, I'm okay if they go. I think that might happen. I think there's one or two players here who still don't suit his standard football, and he'll be looking to replace them. So I think there's one or two there he might be okay with letting go. But my opinion is right. As long as BBM goes, this is who I want in, this is who I want out, and they go, all right, it's your choice. As long as that happens, I'm happy. Yeah. I think he's earned the right to have a say. I think the club's record on signing players for us has shown bad. But look, don't forget, we still got Simic come back, we can sell and offload. We still got Darland that can come back and offload.
So there's other players out there that can go.
Do you reckon someone will buy CineTete? And his 10 grand and his 10 grand a week wages.
You know, it's not Christmas yet. No, we can't wish on a miracle yet. But look, everyone knows I'm not a big fan of Tete, and nothing against him. It's not worked out. He's gone on loan to Rotherham, it didn't work out there. I think he went on loan to Bolton, didn't work out there. He's going to sit and run, it's not worked out there. Unfortunately, it's just not working out. The 2-year contract is a bit baffling, I won't lie. I don't understand that.
Do you know why they offered him a contract, mate? So we signed him for $500,000, right? And when we were signing him out on loan, when his loan was going to be up, his contract was going to be up. So the thinking was by a certain person that we would sign him to a new deal. He would go on loan, and then he would either be really good, we'd keep him, or we'd then get our $500,000 back. Gave him a 10 grand a week for 3 years or 2 years with an option, which totals up to it works out about £1.5 million contract. So we've paid him £1.5 million to try and get our £500,000 back. Make that make sense, mate, to me, because I haven't got a flipping clue.
I said at the time, right, if the thinking is he needs first team football elsewhere on loan, right, the simple answer is give him a 1-year contract, but implement it so the club can activate a second year if the club feels they do it. That's how you protect yourself. That's how the club protect yourself. But give him a 2-year deal outright is baffling. I think we all said at the time is baffling. I've never seen it from him. I've never seen it. The only time I thought he's had a storming game here was the Peter Whittingham special against Aston Villa, but I thought Montana tore it up. And since then, he's nowhere near it. I think the club will try and offload him. I think the club will probably be happy to let him go on a free if someone comes in for him. Whether someone does in the summer, I can't imagine someone does come in for him in the summer.
It's the fact his loans have been so poor, isn't it? I think is an indication that it's going to be difficult to offload him, isn't it?
Well, I was speaking to a similar fan about a month or two ago. I reached out and asked how he's getting on. The word for word reply was, it looks like there's a lad who's won a competition to come on at half time, and the same game was taken off like 20 minutes later. And you're like, come on, it's got to go right through somewhere. Because if it goes right through you there, it looks good on us as a club.
Yeah.
The more it keeps failing, it makes us look bad. And that's the last we want. But the club has a record of doing stuff like this. You know, same Mitch. Steve Bowley comes out and says the club has a plan. We know what we're doing. Again, you don't. Kanga comes from nowhere. You're like, why is this happening? There's been signing after signing after signing.
Because you haven't got a director of football or like a proper head of recruitment who's like a football guy who's going to make those decisions based on proper analysis.
This is why I'm so happy now. We've got BBM going, no, I don't this lad. This is why I think we didn't sign many players in summer. I wouldn't be surprised if the club went to him with a list and go, here's the lads we're going to bring in. He's gone, no. I'd rather stick with what I got and get there, man.
All of the signings which we signed in the summer are BBM signings, whether that's Osho, whether that's Trot, like they're all BBM signings, which is really encouraging. All right, people might say they don't like Osho or whatever, but like it's a good sign because it means the club trusted him from the off. And I think now they will trust him even more. Now, the one thing which is interesting, you mentioned about Nathan Trott earlier. We have a clause in there to sign him. It's not a obligation. It's just a clause that we have first refusal, I think, if we get promoted. However, there is a complication to that in that there's at least 2 quite big European clubs having a look at him. One's in the Europa League and one's in the, like the kind of like pre-Champions League clubs, if you like they get into the qualifying rounds or whatever. And that does complicate it a little bit because he doesn't have to sign for us. And if he gets a chance to play European football, will that be too much of a pull for him? I don't know. But hopefully it's not a complication because I think, he's a really good keeper. Now, I've heard really good things about Harry Tyra as well, both from Everton fans and from people at the club as well. So maybe they've signed him with that in mind, that maybe Trot's not possible, but it would be a bit disheartening, I think, to lose Trot to then have basically an academy keeper come who hasn't played a lot of football at first team level.
I think the problem he'll have as well, say that does happen, is every time something goes wrong, they're going to go, he's not a trot, is he? You're not a trot. You're not good enough. Trot was better. And especially for a youngster, constantly being told, the last guy you replaced, it was better new. That's going to knock your confidence. I mean,
of course it is.
We finally got a decent keeper. I mean, I thought Ryan Allsop was shocking. I like Jack Arnick. We just struggled. It just didn't work out. Horvath, less said the better. I mean, Runnerson, Jesus wept. To finally get a keeper in, that does a job for us, and we lose him as well now. I mean, we've got Matthew Turner still at the club. He's 24 years old now. He's played, 4 games for the club? I think that, no offence, I think that ship has sailed with us and him now, if I'm honest.
He might end up just being one of them who is a really good, number 2 or number 3. Do you know, you see him, don't you, these days with goalkeepers, where they don't end up playing a lot of games. They are number 2 somewhere. They work hard, they train hard, they're always ready, but they don't end up playing a lot. I wonder if he might end up being that.
I get that, but for a selfish point of view, if I was him, I want to play first.
Of course, football. Yeah. 100%.
I'm 24 years old. I'm not. It's got to the point where I was on the bench for Cardiff, playing a game or two. Now I'm the third choice keeper, and the second choice isn't on the bench yet.
No, I agree with you, mate. And I think he nearly went on loan in January. That was what I was told, is he was going on loan. So whether they might loan him out next year, I don't know, mate. It remains to be seen. It is a controversial one for you right there, mate. I want to put this question to you, and we can have a little discussion about it. I know it's going to upset Dan Lowe straight away, so I'm always about upsetting Dan. I worry, and I want to be clear about this. Ryan Wintle has been superb this year, absolutely superb. He's right up there for Player of the Year for me. But I do worry about whether he can do it in the Championship, because he wasn't great in the Championship last time around. He's going to be 2 years older. I don't know if he's got the legs or the physicality to do in the Championship again now. Not saying that he can't. I don't think he can be part of the squad. I think he can be the backup 6. But if it's me, I'm looking. One of the main positions I'm looking to strengthen is a really physical, athletic number 6. I'm not going to say his name, but there is a particular midfielder I wish we'd signed in the summer, and we had a little chat to, and he didn't end up signing. But that type of profile of player, that's what I think we lack. And I think if we can bring that into the midfield, it will massively, massively transform the team as a whole. But on Ryan Wintle, I'm just not. And I look, mate, I really hope he proves me wrong like he did this year. But I do worry that maybe he can't do it in the Championship.
So me and Evan spoke this on Saturday, and it's one of those where it might just be a simple case of this is the first manager who understands the kind of player he is. Puts him in a position he needs him, gives him the role he needs to do, and says, "Look, just do this."
Tried to play him as a number 10, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I think it could be a case of you finally got a manager who knows how to get the best of a player. And again, it's the same as we talked about his head. You can give him a year extension with the option for the club to activate a second year to protect themselves. And you've got pre-season, a series like. I do agree you want to strengthen the 6. You want to strengthen every position. But it's a case of BBM might be thinking, I've got something no one else has seen. And a lot of other managers in League One, I know a lot of other managers have said that he's outstanding. He's a top player.
Very, very highly rated.
And no, nothing against. Again, we didn't know what it was like under Reza, because under Reza, he'd already gone to Millwall because Bullard had sent him away. So we played with Mansverk and Chambers there. We could have done with him probably. And
Omar tried to get him back in January, and it was blocked. But
it just could be a case of the new manager coming in. I know exactly how to get a tune out of him. I know what he needs, and this is what I want from him. And again, his role might just slightly alter next year just to adapt to the Championship, where he doesn't go as far forward. He drops a little deeper just to shield the back four a bit more, allowing the full backs to bomb forward. It might be a case of that, and he has a wonderful season. I hope that's the case.
I think there'll be 2 things which kind of decide it. One will be what the plans are for Joel Colwell. If they see long-term Joel as a 8, then maybe they don't offer Wintle a new deal, because they'll think they have options because Joel's played as a 6 as well. But I would, if it was up to me, I would give Ryan Wintle a new deal with the option for, I would give him a year maybe, or a 2-year deal with an option for another one. But I would do that in my head thinking that we're going to get someone in who's going to be first choice, and Ryan then is going to be the sort of rotation option for that position. That would be my thinking, because I think Ryan Wintle has been outstanding this year. And it's not that I don't think I think he definitely won't be able to do it next year, but I do have a concern with it. He's not the only one, mind. Callum Chambers, I have a big concern about as well, because I think what you've got to remember is when we were in the Championship last year, a couple of these players really, really struggled. Really struggled. Chris Willock really, really struggled in the Championship. Been very good in League One, but he struggled in the Championship. So if that's going to be the case again, we have to look at that. Like if we're managing the squad properly, saying that, like you just said, maybe Brian Barry Murphy just gets Chris Willock and Chris Willock gets Brian Barry Murphy, and he's the manager who's going to make him consistent, which no other manager has really been able to do with Willock. And I think that, that could be for a couple of players. Same with Chambers. I thought Chambers was an absolute shit show last year. Like I thought he was at centre back. Now I'm on about. Like I thought he was really, really poor. But this year, I think he deserves a lot of credit for the way he's conducted himself, the way he's performed. But it's be mad if we didn't have concerns about it.
So the Chambers one, fair enough. Me and the boys discussed this, right? So last year, and we all said this now. It was a very similar case to Sean Morrison and Aidan Flint. Right, you got two similar style centre half. So last year it was Gutas, Chambers. Neither got pace, neither runners. Put a ball in over the top of him in behind one of them, it's a goal. And it happens so many times because they both try to challenge the ball. The ball will get knocked on behind them. There's a massive gap, opens up, big space, goal. And I think BBM has noticed this because this year it's been a case of Chambers next to Fish or Lawler. So he's got someone who's a runner and he can just do what he does best. I don't know how the contracts are. I was listening to, I think it was Ben Foster, and he was saying about, I think it was Ben Foster, but I can't remember what it was, but they were saying when QPR got relegated, there was no contract clauses to reduce the salary. So when they got promoted again, the salary went back up again. I don't know if it's something in the contracts and the salary goes back up if they get promoted.
Of course,
if that's the case, I'm then worried thinking, right, we've got big earners as it is in League One. If it goes up again, I think we have to get rid of. For me, though, Chambers is ahead of Osho for me. I think Osho does struggle a bit with the high defensive line we play. I don't think he's used to playing a high defensive. Our defensive line is so far forward, and his best performances in England have been Luton, where they played a lot deeper. So I do think about that.
Shouldn't we be building around Fish and Lawler as the
exactly
pairing?
Exactly, I totally agree with that. And with the likes of we said about Wintle might depend on Joel. I think Joel's ahead of Turnbull for me right now. And I think Turnbull.
Oh yeah, I
think Turnbull will probably leave in the summer for Monster. I think that'll be one of the ones that BBM's been happy to see go. Not happy to see go, but if I'm going to lose someone in midfield, it's him. We don't know what happened when we went to left because NG sort of seemed to come across like he's down tools. There was a big sort of drop off them. We don't know if NG goes, how does that affect Wintle? As well. There seems to be that. So I don't know. I won't be surprised if the club have sorted contracts with some of these players already, and they just announce them. They just announce them every few weeks just to fill the void.
Yeah, I think there could be an element of that, but I also think what people have got to remember particularly with Perry NG, with Wintle, less so Bagan, but still, is they need to be mathematically sure that we're going up before they can. Like Perry NG and Wintle are on quite big money. And if we're in League One again next year, they'd be mad if they offered them the same big wage that they're on. So they've got to wait. They have to wait, mate. Or whether they could do like a clause or something whereby, if we do go up, you got on this, but if we don't, then you're on this. I don't know I don't know enough about football contracts to say whether that would be possible, but I can understand why they're have to wait, or at least like Dan says there. He said Wintle and Chambers will both be here next season. Sorry for those who want different. I don't think Chambers is guaranteed to be here next year simply because he's the highest earner at the club, and I think when you look at the wages that him, Robinson, someone else as well are on, you can't rule it out because the finances are what they are. Like, we're in dire financial shape. So the highest earners are going to be the ones who are probably earmarked to be moved on.
I think I spoke to you in January. I know there's one club that were looking at Chambers, but opted for someone else because wages were covered by someone else. They might come back in for him. I mean, there's clubs that are going to be fighting relegation next year that will look at a player like Chambers and think, with his experience, with what he can bring to us. So, yeah, I won't be surprised. But I don't know, it's one of those for me where, like I said, Lawler and Fish, the two key ones. I mean, I've seen some of the comments in the chat there now about they're happy to see Wintle go his average at best.
I disagree with that, but I do think he could be a squad player next year. Like, it's because you just made a great point a minute ago, mate, is as you go up the leagues, you have to change your squad, you have to adapt, and you have to accept. And I'm going to use Chris Willock as an example, right? But it's not a dig at Chris Willock. It's just I'm just using him as an example. It might be right that Chris Willock is very, very good at League One level, but then Championship is just a bit too much. Like, it's just that bit. Like, he's an in-betweener sort of player, and there'll be players who are really, really good in the Championship, but maybe they're not quite good enough for the Premier League. Or like when they do all right sometimes, but then they struggle a little bit. And I'm not saying that Wintle definitely won't be good for us next year. He's been exceptional for us this year. But next year's a different season, and we have to build the squad capable of competing next year. Now, I think we've got the basis of a really good squad anyway. I don't think we need loads, but I think we need the right players. And if you look at it statistically, over the last 10 years, I think it is, or might be 12 years, teams which have gone up automatically from League One have done quite well in the Championship in terms of where they finished and getting another, like, back-to-back promotions. Now, I'm not for 1 minute saying that we're going to get promoted back-to-back. I said that at the start of the season, so I don't need to say it again. But what I am saying is that the way we play football is suited to playing at a higher level. And if we get the right players, there is no reason why we cannot compete with this manager and the basis of players that we have if we sign the right players in the right positions at the right level of quality. We've also got Eli King to come back, and I think people forget just how that Eli King was going to play a big part in this season for us. And at the start of the season, he was earmarked to be starting ahead of Wintle. Like, whether it would have played out like that as the season went on, who knows? But like, at the start of the season, that's where he was. But also, you should add to that, you never know how someone's going to recover from a serious injury like that. You just don't know.
The exciting thing for me as well is, right, so look at this year now. Capaccio breaks through, sort of thing. Bagan has his best year, right? Dylan Lawler comes through. Joel breaks through. You could argue Kean's been in and around it, but this is his breakthrough season really for us. He's really standing out this year, right? We had, what's that his name now? Mafiko come through, and he impressed me. He struggled left back, plus not his position. He plays midfield. I think it was Cheltenham in the cup. He was outstanding, set up the goal for Isaac Davis. Can you imagine the youngsters he's going to bring through next year? I mean, he's more than happy feeding youngsters into the first team. Can you imagine next year? Yeah,
Tankovic will be in the first team next year, mate, in the squad, 100%.
You could see.
I'd be shocked if he's not.
Youngsters getting 5-10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 10 minutes there. Again, it's a great little conveyor belt, and he's not afraid to use youngsters. So I've seen a lot of comments now when you bring 5-6 players in, right? Which, yeah, again, I understand. But then when you bring in them youngsters too as well, with the energy, the pace, the fearlessness someone bring, running at the defenders, they lose the ball, they get back, they win the ball back, they run at them again. I mean, it's exciting times for me personally. I think I've never been excited for football as much as I have this year.
Oh, this season has been unbelievable, mate. And I think the other thing which doesn't go unmissed, at least for me and my son, is this year in the games where we haven't been very good, we've still been phenomenal to watch. Like, I've watched some dross over the years, mate, as I know you have. So to watch us play football the way we've played football this year has been really, really pleasant. And I understand why people are having a bit of a wobble because we've had a bit of a ropey few games, but we've also had some really tough games. And we just, the Blackpool game, for instance, is just one of them frustrating games where you just can't get the goal. But for me, Brian Barry Murphy, I just watched looking at some of the comments there. There's a couple of people sort of saying, will he be able to do it in a championship? I have never had as much confidence in a manager at Cardiff as I've got in Brian Barry Murphy, in that if we back him long term and we back him to give him the players that he wants, that we will succeed under him. There's a reason why I did that video before, 6 months before he came, and I said, this is a guy you get in your club and you build around him and you build for the future. And I stand by that now. And people forget as well, by the way, who have we played from the leagues above this year? We played Burnley, outplayed them. Played Wrexham. Chelsea, did well against them, outplayed Wrexham. And we didn't just beat them like a spawny, 1-0 backs to the wall. Like Burnley and Wrexham, we outplayed them. And Burnley, we did it and Wrexham, actually, we did it at their place. So all I'm worried about is whether the club backed the manager.
You just said that, right? It's been some bad games this season, but they're not as bad as we've previously seen. The bad games we've seen is because the team has put 10 men in the ball and just try to shop all game. And we've been forced to try and break teams down. You go to the championship, teams aren't going to play that way. Teams are going to be more open or trying to hit that sort of counter. There'll be more space. Look at the Chelsea game. We're outstanding that game because they tried playing against us and we found the space that we needed. I think that'll happen again next year. And
no championship team's going to sit low block against us next year. Again, certainly in the first 6 months of the season.
Yeah, and you look at the championship now. Some of the teams struggling and stuff, right? I don't think you have to have the millions to spend. I think you should get the recruitment right and the right manager to play the football you want to play. I think you're fine. I mean, yeah. And I do think we do need to temper expectation next year because I think there will be a case of we into the playoffs. This is shocking. We should get rid of him now. I guarantee that'll pop up. We're not the playoffs. Why aren't we the playoffs? Again,
mate, I can't understand the negativity towards the team at the moment. I can't fathom it at all. How people are so critical of it. I understand being critical of the club and being concerned that the club won't do certain things or they won't back him because historically we've made bad decisions. But in terms of the manager and the team, I just can't fathom why people aren't just enjoying it. Because we've got 7 games of the season left. This season has flown by. And I remember the excitement. I was saying to you before the show, first game of the season, Peterborough. And it was about 1:30, 2:00. And I was talking to my son. And it was it'll probably be Alnwick in goal, Chambers in defence. And then he named that team. And it was Matthew Turner in goal, Kipaki out at right back, Joel Corwell in midfield. And the excitement level, mate, from then onwards has just never dropped. And it was just different. And for me, the season's flown and we got 7 games left. But I will say this now, and I will touch wood just because I'm a little bit superstitious. And also I'm a Cardiff City fan. I've been burnt many times, but I just don't see Bradford or Bolton winning enough games to close the gap in 7 games. And I don't think we will drop enough points for them to do that because they won't win every game, neither of them. And they pretty much need to do that if we win a game or two. So that's where I'm at with it.
Well, I remember the start, before the season started, I think before pre-season started, the group chat we got, the WhatsApp group chat, all the comments said, the most excited I've been for a season is this one. I've never been more excited for football. I can't wait for League One. I'm getting relegated, but I can't wait to see us turn a couple of teams over. I've fallen in love with football again. Like the last, like, I don't know, since Dave Jones left for me, it's been painful. There was a few years where I just couldn't watch them because they played in a different colour. After that, troll up. Slade did a good job in regards of cutting the costs, getting us to finish 8th, but the football was dire. I mean, Warnock sort of brought the fans together, but the football wasn't the best. But he was successful, so you couldn't complain. Then Neil Harris comes in, and I think we're all a bit confused with that one. Harry Wilson plays on the wing, Bakuna plays in the 10. Then next week's a right back. And then you got Mick McCarthy, sells a wingers, he plays five centre backs, 3 older midfielders, lose 4-0. Like the football we've seen the last few years has been absolute garbage. And now we've actually seen some great football. Just enjoy it. I'm happy being we're never going to be a top 8 Premier League team. We probably will be a team that floats around the Championship or free for all time. Just enjoy it. Yeah. I just don't understand what
what's exciting about next year, mate, is the top 8 go into playoffs. So, like, why wouldn't you just, if you can get it right next year, we could have a real go at it. Even if we end up finishing 10th, but you have a really exciting, enjoyable season, that's okay. We got relegated like last year, and it was dire, and our finances are up the Swanee. So, like, if we can go up this year and have a good season next year, see what happens. And the thing is, if you're like 10th and in touching distance with 5-6 games to go, and we've got the sort of squad that we've got now, which is full of young, exciting players, why wouldn't you like go and have a push for it? Why wouldn't you be excited by it? I just think people need to I just wish people would enjoy it a bit more, because I don't know whether it's this year's the first year where me and my son together. Obviously, he's a bit older now. He's like 17, but like when he was little, he used to go to some games, whereas we've gone to like every home game this year and done a couple of aways, and like he's just all into it. Like he is all in on Cardiff now. I've ruined his life. That's it, because like he's got the bug and he's all into it, and I just like seeing him enjoy it so much. And I said this before, like, he's never seen us get promoted or win a big like FA Cup giant killing, and he couldn't get his head around where like Garnacho was sat like 2 rows in front of him at the Chelsea game. Like it was weird to him. So like I just think I'm excited to see the rest of the season, and we do need to address certain aspects of the squad to do well. I think the base is there in terms of the technical ability, but we do lack physicality, and I think everybody knows that. I think the manager knows that. Even when Salic comes back, outside of him and Ruben, we've got quite a small side. We need some physicality and we need some athleticism, but like you add a couple of players who give you that, and then all of a sudden those players with the technical ability start to look really dangerous. I do think we need a pacey winger.
Agree.
I think what would you add, like very quickly before we finish? What like positions would you look to add? So I would look for a really pacey winger, an alternative to Yusuf Salic.
Agree, yeah.
My personal choice would be Dom Ballard, but I don't think that would be possible. A really physical central midfielder in the profile of Darko Gyabi, and left back and a centre back if one of them leaves, and also like if obviously replace anyone who goes as well. So like if we didn't offer anyone a contract or whatever, but that would be that's all. And signing Trot obviously, but apart from like I don't think we need 7-8 players. We need the right 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 3 or 4 with a couple of loans to boost it. Like
a full back who got pace and get up on the pitch, who can do attacking and defending. I've always said it, Cody Draper. I think he was suited Sala football to a T. An old school number 9 poacher, someone who makes the runs off the last shoulder, who's got pace. If you've got someone like Ruben who can feed the ball through, get a run on the end of it. If Salic isn't working, put a run on. I do think we need blistering pace out wide, just someone who can run at the defender non-stop 90 minutes, draw the fouls, win the free kicks, maybe get someone sent off, but will terrorise defences. I think we need to replace Turnbull for someone a bit more creative as an 8. Someone that who can someone who carry the ball a bit better as well. 6 as well, yeah, and Trot.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, we got Spurs away, mate. Next year it'll be wicked. I can't wait for that. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good, mate. There was a question I wanted to ask you about. Can't find it. So the chat was having a bit of a debate about Brian Barry Murphy. We're going to finish up now, so I want to kind of just round it up. But what you've seen of this manager, do you think we have an issue with regards to around the box and the false 9 thing? Like, do you think it's too pass? Or, like I made this point the other day, and I'll see what you think about this within that, is if you work on the basis of Yusuf Salih's plan A, right? Plan B at the start of the season was Callum Robinson. As the season's developed, for whatever reason, it's clear he doesn't fancy Callum. And then plan C was Isaac Davis off the bench late on in games. And then plan D is like the false 9 system with, say, Amari Kellyman or Ruben or Joel or whoever. When you look at the fact that we're on plan D and then you've got Isaac Davis and Yusuf Salih out, or you've had them out for a decent period, like, I'm not sure what people expect the manager to do, because we don't have any other options other than to play the false 9 system. Yes, he could play Callum Robinson, but the way Callum Robinson's been playing for us, he plays the same way, like dropping in deep. So I just don't know, like, I don't know what people want him to do, like, from them in terms of differently. I get moving the ball quicker and, tempo and stuff like that. I get all of that, but like tactically or selection wise, I'm just not sure what people want from the manager. Like,
I think it's symptomatic of modern football. It's the same for every club. If you look at it, it gets to the final third, and all of a sudden, every player knows he has to be in a certain position to receive the ball, to do something. It's all preordained from. You've got to be you. You've got to go there. You've got to be there. Players don't play off instinct anymore. And I think you can see that in the stats when you see like League One now is one player on over 20 goals a season. Ballard. Someone in Blowing 119. Championship, no one's on 20 goals yet. Back when we were watching Championship with Chopper and stuff, right, you'd have like 8 to 9 players probably hitting 20 goals a season. It was all on instinct. I mean, Ruben would suit that kind of football, playing off instinct. He'd feed a runner through and runner get the end of his score. So I think that's the big issue right now in the modern football. I do think, I don't know if it's intelligence or if it's a case of they're unsure what to do in the final third. So we played, I can't remember what it was now, Stevenage, the biggest defence in the league, right? We're floating slow crosses into Salih, giving the opposition defenders time to get, bully him off the ball, win the header, clear the lines. No one's drilling the ball in the box. I do think we get the final third, and rather than look to put the ball in, even if it's drilling in the box, we look to cut back. And I've said this the last few years. What tends to happen is you'll have the right winger, so it could be Ashford, Ruben, NG, and Turnbull. 4 of them on that corner alone, passing amongst each other. That area gets crowded out, so then the ball goes to the left-hand side. And then they shift across, but no one's actually attacking the box. When we lost to Leeds last year, right, I think Leeds had 5 runners running in the box to get the end of things. I think this year, at times, you've had 2 runners running in the box. And it's like, I think it's symptomatic of modern football. I think players are it's coaching to where they should be. There's no instinct anymore. I think the only player we've really seen stand out with instinct like that is Robertson, I think. I can't remember who scored against that the other week. Lovely ball, I think, was it Joel? Sorry, Dylan Lawler or Fish whipped the ball in over the top. Robertson on the end of it, picks it up, scores. It takes the intelligence to see the run and to make the run. I think we've lacked that, but I think it's not just us. I think it's all clubs lacking it.
There's no street footballers about, is there? Like, like genuine, like just flair, just players off the cuff. That's what, and you look at Phil Foden is one who plays like that, but it's been coached out of him to the point where he now doesn't start games, and probably there's even talk of him not going to the World Cup. Yeah. Which just shows you, like, and players just get like coached coached, and anything flair-wise, creativity just gets coached out of him. Got to play to the system, got to play to this. It's depressing.
Best example I give is Arsenal right now.
God, mate.
Eze was outstanding last year. He's now robotic. He has to be in a certain position, do this with the ball, do that with the ball. Saka, all our freedom is gone. Odegaard, one of the best number 10s in the world at one point. He was creative. He was in Madrid. He was talked about for being creative. First few years in Arsenal, he was brilliant at the 10. Now he's robotic. He's always been man-marked because he knows he's going to be landed. It's just far too easy. Martinelli, again, Jack Grealish, another one. Creative number 10, flair, plays with freedom, enjoys it. Drilled out of him, coached out of him. And it's happened to all sort of football. Like we talked about Chopper before, could he play in today's football? I don't think he could. Because he'd have to stand in one position, wait for the ball to come here, then move to the players like that play off instinct. Play Smith, play off the shoulder of the last defender all the time. Feed the ball through, use his pace at the end of it, score. That's gone for me, and I think that's modern football. I think it'll come back. We see all the time 4-4-2 went out of fashion. 5 at the back came in. That quickly died out. Now it's the 4-2-3-1. That's in again. It's just cycles football is, and the creativity will come back again. And the first team that does bring it back will benefit from it. But until then, we're all playing the same brand of forward thinking, in the final third, you be there, you there, you stand here. If you're not there, you're in no position. And that's why you see the players pass along the lines. I think they don't know what they're supposed to do when the ball comes to them. They think, I haven't got a shot here, I'll just pass it on, hope someone else has got a shot. I think that instinct is just gone now.
Yeah, I mean, at the top level, especially, like players, they're almost like coached to the point of like, right, if the ball goes here, I've got to do this. If the ball goes there, I've got to do this. And like they don't think for themselves. And then when things happen in the game, they can't manage it because they don't know what, so they just recycle the ball. And I think one of the good things tactically, which Brian Barry Murphy has brought in, and I think will help us next year, is a lot of the patterns of play are repeatable. So like what you see a lot of like interchanges and triangles, and some of them you could see are off the cuff, of course. And when you've got like Joel Colwell breaking lines with his runs, Alex Robertson also does it really well. You think of the goal versus who was it at home, Exeter maybe, where Dylan plays the ball over the top and Robertson times his run and he's just in on the keeper on his own. That's what you need, those line breaking runs. And I think we're at our best when all the movement of the ball is quite fluid and we're not too structured. Like everyone's got a position, but we're just, whoever's got the ball is the movement off them means we're moving the ball quickly and teams just can't deal with it. You look at what we did to Doncaster, and I know Doncaster were poor that day, but the movement of the ball just destroyed them. Exeter the same. And people forget, because we've had a couple of ropey games, people forget how many goals we scored initially when Salic was out playing that false 9 system. But the way football is these days with analysis and every game is on TV or is available in its entirety. So what that means is teams, even lower first League One teams, they have analysts or scouts or coaches who will watch the games and they make a plan and they'll have a whole portfolio on, the opposition for this Saturday. This is how they play. This is how they build up from the back. This is what they do with goal kicks. And then they come up with a plan. And then your job as a coach or a manager or a team is to come up with a plan. Right, if they stop us this way, we're going to do this or that or whatever. The problem Brian Barry Murphy has got is that he's already starting on plan D, which means he's only got so many options to do. Now, do I think, I don't know, Blackpool, for instance, when it was very clear that they were going to sit in and try and hit on the break. So at half time, could we have taken Wintle off and put Alex Robertson at 6 and put Joel Colwell on, or done something a bit more aggressive or taken a bit of risk? I do think we could have done that. Could we stick Will Fish up front or Callum Chambers up front for the last 5 minutes in injury time? I do think we could do that. And, could we, in injury time, when, there's a couple of minutes to go and it's 0-0, can we just chuck it in the box and play the percentages a little bit and see what happens? Why not? Like, do something a bit different. Like, I'm all about doing something different, but equally, I like that this manager has created a philosophy and a style of playing for the club that people now, if you say to someone, how do Cardiff City play? They'll be able to tell you, well, they play good football. And unanimously, you speak to fans of other clubs and you say, who's been the best footballing team that you've played this year? They will say Cardiff. Who's the best player you've played against or seen from another team? And they will say Ruben or Dylan, but usually Ruben, in fairness. And I think maybe us as Cardiff fans, we just need to sometimes appreciate stuff while it's happening rather than when it's all over, looking back on it.
Yeah, it's not. Again, it's only year one of the BBM plan, so
yeah,
12 months working with a team that's, let's be honest, a few of them struggled with injuries. Ruben missed a big chunk of the season. Salix missed a big chunk of the season. Dylan's been out for a few games. Alex Robertson as well coming to get going because he was catching up with fitness. So this is obviously it wasn't the ideal start in regards to that. So again, next year it might just be even better. I just think in the final third, that's my only issue is in the final third it does look a bit robotic. Like for me, Willock never tries to beat his man. He tries to cut back in on the right hand side, and a few times he's run into one of our own players who's just stood on the edge of the box because that's where they sort of stand. And I'm thinking, same with Keegan, just take your man on and just rip the ball in. Low cross, whip it in. Well, if they clear it. I think they've got 10 men back. We'll win the ball back to clear it. But it might get a deflection, it might get a goal, it might get a corner, it might get a set piece, it might come to one of our players. Just do that a bit more, I think. It does seem a bit too, what's the word? It's orchestrated, as I should say then. Because he'll cut back, pass it across the... And I know we win 4-0 here, 4 goals there, and you're thinking this is amazing. But there's a stat, I think it said, goal scoring chances created, and we were top.
We're miles ahead of on chances created, aren't we?
And then it was like goal score opportunities missed, and we were top of that as well. Yeah. If we're a bit more clinical, we would have absolutely buried teams. We would have embarrassed some teams.
Yeah, mate, if we'd been ruthless and clinical with our finishing this year, we'd already be champions. Like, that's how many chances, like, that's how far ahead we are in terms of chances created and chances missed. But look, it is what it is. I think next season is going to be really enjoyable. But for me, I just want to enjoy the next 7 games. I'm doing at least one of the away games. I'm hoping to do another one as well. But I'm going to Reading, and obviously be at all the home games. Which game, if you assume that we're going to get promoted, mate, which game do you think will clinch promotion?
Oh, clinch promotion. I think that will be Reading away probably. But I'm hoping it's the Bolton game because it's my birthday the day before. I'll be at the game regardless. But I want it to be the Bolton game because it takes the pressure off. Yeah. And it frees up in the last 2 games for him to go, right, I can experiment now without pressure. That doesn't mean I'm going to play all kids, but it means I can give 3 other goals just to see how he holds up in the first team game. I can maybe try Isaac through the middle for a game to see how that plans out. I can try, you can try different things. I think it takes a bit of pressure off it. So hopefully it's the Bolton game, if I'm honest too.
Interesting. So I'll put that to the comment. Let me know in the comments after this video, if Cardiff get promoted, what game do you think they'll secure promotion? And I'll ask you this, Reese, to finish us off then, mate. A little hypothetical to stir the pot. I love stirring the pot, me. If Cardiff win the next 7 games, where in the league do you think they will finish?
In an automatic promotion position.
Yeah, you chicken shit.
I will say this, actually. I want to say this before. I see a lot of comments recently about other clubs are offering like cheap tickets for games, and we're a disgrace not doing it. Port Vale's now £5 if you're a season ticket holder. You can get someone else a ticket for £5. Yeah, full credit to the club for that. Full credit to the club could have easily cashed in on that and gone, it'll be picture vision for this game because we're home. Mm-hmm. And I want to say full credit to the club for this, £5 a game. So no complaining. But if we win all 7 games, I do think Lincoln can have a wobble. I don't think it'll be enough of a wobble for them to lose top spot. I think worst case scenario, they'll park 10 men with the ball and see games up with a draw.
the best thing possible for Cardiff, I think, in terms of finishing top, would be if Lincoln get automatic promotion on Friday, which is mathematically possible if results go their way, because then they're going to have a pie. So, hopefully they'll have a little wobble then. But look, they've been unbelievable, in fairness, Lincoln. And if they do go on and win the league, they fully deserve it. They've been it's a remarkable run, to be fair. But we shall see, mate. We shall see. I'm excited. And as Dan says, Peterborough away, because we're already up.
I can't wait. I can't wait for it now.
Awesome, mate. Just on the Peterborough game, mate, that will suit us. Coming off the bit of a wobble, I don't actually think we've been as bad as people make out in the last sort of 3 or 4 games. We've been good and we've been bad in different bits, but I don't think we've been anywhere near as bad as what some people would have you believe. But Peterborough will suit us because they will come out and play. They won't sit in a low block, especially at their place. So I think it suits us, mate. I really do. And I think when you look at individual players, we have quite a few players who have been in good form, like Alex Robertson, Dylan Lawler, Joel Colwell, Ruben Colwell. They've all been in pretty good form. Keane Ashford's been in great form. So, if a team do come out and play a bit, I think, we can do it. There you are. Bolton have gained 1 point on us in the last 6 games.
Regarding the Peterborough game, it's one of those where, for some reason,
historically made Peterborough scars me.
Oh,
that's the problem, isn't it?
4-0 up and then 4-all, stuff like that. But for me, we've struggled after the international break recently, and Luke Williams is going to be going to them going, they hate us, they do, they sort of hate us, and it's going to get them riled up. Yeah. They beat us in the FA Cup first round. That's going to be, you could do these lads. We're at home sort of thing as well. So, again, screw up there, play a natural game. If the goal doesn't come in the first 20 minutes, relax. It'll come in the 30th minute or 40th. Just relax. I mean, the pressure is on now, but not just us, it's on everyone else. Because everyone else wants to get a playoff position. Everyone else wants to try and get promotion. Everyone else wants to get a relegation zone. So everyone's under pressure. We're in a position where the pressure shouldn't be as high for us. So I'm not saying take your feet off the gas, but you can relax a little bit. And if the goal's not there straight away, they'll come. But I think we'll beat them.
Just go get a job done, and then I'll just relax, play football the way we've played all season, and we'll be fine.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, mate, we got a 11-point gap. It's 11.
I think. Oh God, I'm not sure. I question myself now.
66-77. Yeah, it's 11. So
Norfolk is 14 now on Monday night.
Yeah, mate. I'm positive. Never been so positive as I have been this year. People telling me how negative I was not long ago, and I'm too positive.
A question, then. If I could guarantee you now a spot to play a final or second, what would you take?
Say again. Guarantee me a spot in the playoff final
or second place. What would you take?
Oh,
because I know second's guaranteed promotion, right? And that's the biggest thing. But to do it through the playoffs,
yeah, winning something is big, isn't it? Either win the league or win the playoffs is the way to do it. Yeah, honestly, mate, I wouldn't take the risk because financially and the players, I wouldn't take the risk. Which is, I probably usually would have taken. I would go with a playoff final and back yourself to win a one-off game. But if we didn't go up this year, all of those, you could end up with a fire sale, and then it is just a different job then, isn't it? Completely. So, yeah, I'm going to do chicken shit there.
I would love to play a final, but I just think promotion is so vital for us this year that we couldn't. As we said, I'd take second. I'd love the playoffs, so I do.
I don't think I could take the playoff heartbreak, mate, as well. I'm proper scarred by playoffs.
I'm a Cardiff fan. We don't know success in finals. Let's be honest.
The only one I went to,
QPR for me,
was the QPR one where we've won. Every other playoff I've been to, we've lost.
Yeah. And that again, I've seen Reading in the playoffs. I think, or Reading in the playoffs now. I think they are. I remember losing 3-0 at home. I think it was to them. And the Dave Jones
Stoke,
last
mate,
season
was the one before the Millennium Stadium. It felt like every year we lost to Stoke.
Yeah.
I think it was only actually 1 year, wasn't it? But it felt like we just lose to Stoke in the playoff semi-final every year. It's weird, isn't it?
I remember saying Calvin Thorne from Mum. And then
that's it.
Done Bristol City, I think, wasn't it? Then we did QPR final. What a day out that was.
Yeah, what a day, mate. What a day. I was singing The Blues Are Going Up and Peter Thorne's Magic Hat till about 3 o'clock outside the City Arms. It was phenomenal. Don't think I went home. Joan's been saying for a while, though, that, we got our goal difference is worth a point as well, which is a fair point. But there we go. As we've been very, very positive. And I'm very happy to say that the Blues are going up. Keep the faith. And we'll see you. Oh, there's a really interesting video actually coming out tomorrow. Tomorrow night, Evan recorded it. It's just looking at some of the tactical tweaks that we need to make for these last 7 games to get us over the line. But it was quite interesting to hear someone different to me talking about like the tactical side of it. So that was quite interesting. We'll have a video out tomorrow lunchtime as well. And we've also got the members mailbag. I will extend the deadline to that till 6 p.m. tomorrow night because I've only got internet today. So like I haven't had a chance to record it. So I'll give you an extra day. 6 p.m. tomorrow night. If you're a member, get your questions in. You can ask about anything. I've had some questions about the club, the new, what's it called, manufacturer for the kits, which I found out about today. We've had some other questions as well. So I answer everything. Get your questions in, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Nice one, Reese. Appreciate you, mate. The Blues are going up, baby.
This channel is powered by an incredible membership community on Cardiff City World and patreon.com/AcePodcastNation. Becoming a member unlocks exclusive rewards from early access to live event tickets, bonus content, and even the occasional inside transfer scoop when we get it. But more importantly, it allows us to bring you top quality Cardiff City content 7 days a week. Across those 7 days, we're talking match previews, exclusive interviews, instant match reactions, the breakdown podcast, tactical deep dives, the Spotlight series, Bluebirds Rewind, Academy Focus, and just so much more. Led by myself, backed by an army of passionate Cardiff City fans, this is content created by fans for fans. Balanced, professional, and 100% all about the club we all love. If you enjoy